game right here. They saw the dollar signs that was Caitlin Clark. Before ESPN, before Kathy, before the Indiana, before they thought that Caitlin Clark was her, Peacock said, oh, we got to captivate on this now. We got to capitalize on this now.
Hold up, because what just went down in the WNBA is about to change everything, and Commissioner Kathy Engelbert is learning that you can't stop a hurricane with an umbrella. We're diving deep into the chaos that's ripping through the league right now. This situation is so explosive, it could destroy the entire organization before they even start the next sentence.
Ever written. Here's what she said in the press release. I'm really excited to be part of the Basketball Night in America crew this season. Carmelo, Vince, and Tracy are legends of the game, and Maria is a true professional. It will be really fun to join them a few times this season. And then from NBC, Caitlin is one of the most captivating players and dynamic scorers in basketball. We're excited to have Caitlin join Hall of Famers Melo, Vince.
Let's be brutally honest and open the files.
Sure, everyone's talking about this massive contract, but what they're not telling you is the absolute rage and resentment brewing at the very top of the power structure. Thanks to Napheesa Collier making a bold stand, we now know that Kathy Engelbert isn't just disconnected from reality, she's openly fighting against what Caitlin Clark has brought to this league. This isn't rumors anymore, this is straight from the vice president of the Players Association, who decided to expose what's really happening in those private meetings. Get this, Engelbert actually told Collier that Caitlin Clark should be thankful to the WNBA for her sponsorship deals. She really had the nerve to suggest that Clark owes the league gratitude for giving her a platform like Nike and Gatorade and NBC are throwing millions around because of some league logo instead of the once-in-a-generation player wearing that Indiana Fever uniform. Now Caitlin Clark has made her move. She's broken free from the restrictive world of the WNBA to play in the major leagues, sitting alongside icons like Mike Tirico, Vince Carter, and Carmelo Anthony while speaking to a global audience instead of being stuck with a tiny fan base. Inside sources from Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's office are painting the picture with one simple word: chaos. We're talking about shouting wars, panic conference calls, and one particular term that keeps getting thrown around in those executive meetings: betrayal. The commissioner sees Caitlin's decision as ultimate treachery, a knife in the back from the league that supposedly built her career. Here's what we're exposing right now. Caitlin Clark didn't stab anyone in the back. She simply escaped from a failing organization and demonstrated that she's the most brilliant business person sports has ever seen. To really grasp why the commissioner is yelling betrayal and why this signing basically amounts to a war declaration, you need to understand the complete disaster the league is currently facing. The WNBA is stuck in its biggest labor nightmare ever. Players are talking about walking out, the collective bargaining talks have completely stalled, and there's a genuine chance the 2026 season might not happen at all. Right in the middle of this total meltdown, while Commissioner Kathy Engelbert is frantically trying to hold everything together and begging sponsors to stick around. Her biggest attraction, the only person who helped the league finally make money last year, goes ahead and inks a deal with their main competition for viewers and attention. Caitlin's NBC contract delivers one bone-chilling message to the WNBA leadership: I can be successful and wealthy without any of you. She's locked down her financial future completely separate from their games and their authority. Picture the worst-case scenario for the commissioner. The WNBA season gets wiped out because of labor disputes. Every arena sits empty, but millions of people are glued to their screens on Sunday nights watching Caitlin Clark in designer outfits, grinning at cameras, analyzing LeBron James or Stephen Curry highlights on NBC, earning more in a single evening than the WNBA paid her for 12 months of work. This visual represents a marketing catastrophe the league can never bounce back from, because it makes the WNBA look like a minor league stepping stone that Caitlin has already left in the dust. People close to the decision makers are saying that Kathy Engelbert got on the phone with Caitlin's representatives the second this news broke. Word is the conversation got heated fast, with accusations flying about sabotaging the league and creating distractions during a make-or-break moment. The commissioner believes Caitlin owes complete allegiance to the organization, that she should be right there with the other athletes demanding better compensation and travel arrangements, not inking massive television contracts to discuss men's basketball. This betrayal language shows you exactly how the old school leadership thinks, like they have ownership over these players and get to dictate their futures. But what the commissioner completely misses and what Caitlyn's doubters don't understand is that this decision represents the perfect payback and the smartest protection plan possible. Here's the question nobody in the league leadership wants to address. What exactly does Caitlin Clark owe this organization? Has the commissioner conveniently forgotten what actually went down and how she allowed Caitlin to get brutally targeted on the court night after night while the officials just watched? Has she forgotten how she let veteran players run organized character assassination campaigns through the media, missing her as nothing but manufactured excitement? Has she forgotten how Caitlin got completely shut out of the Paris Olympic roster with ridiculous justifications while the entire planet was demanding her inclusion? The WNBA never had Caitlyn's back, and the WNBA never truly welcomed Caitlyn. The WNBA tried to use Caitlyn to pack arenas while throwing her to the Sharks in team dynamics. So when the chance comes for Caitlyn to create her own financial empire completely independent of these people's whims, only a fool would pass that up. This NBC partnership is her way of saying, you left me defenseless during games, so I constructed my own stronghold away from all of you. The NBC contract details are absolutely mind-blowing and show just how big her vision really is. We're not looking at some sideline correspondent doing quick sound bites. We're looking at a featured expert position. She'll be right there in the main broadcast booth. She'll be the centerpiece of Olympics coverage from Los Angeles, and she'll be integrated into the massive NFL marketing operation. NBC is making a bet that Caitlin Clark represents the future face of American athletics. Period. Putting her in the same conversation as Tom Brady or Shaquille O'Neal. This creates absolutely terrifying leverage for her. Picture Caitlin Clark sitting in that NBC studio with the ability to shape millions of opinions about WNBA management with just one comment. She can call out poor officiating, she can criticize the salary structure, and countless people will hang on every word. That's exactly why the commissioner is having a complete meltdown. She's figured out that control has slipped away completely. Before this, she could issue fines or apply pressure to Caitlin, but now Caitlin works for NBC Universal, a media powerhouse that makes the WNBA look microscopic by comparison. The entire power dynamic just got flipped upside down. There's something else driving the veteran players absolutely insane with envy right now. Diana Taurasi, Brianna Stewart, and the rest have spent decades trying to get even a small taste of this kind of mainstream recognition. Now they're watching the newcomer who hasn't even completed 2 full seasons land the ultimate gig that every professional athlete dreams about post-retirement. They're seeing her skip right past all of them to become America's basketball authority figure. This is definitely going to crank up the locker room drama if the league actually comes back. But here's the thing, Caitlin doesn't need to care anymore. Previously, she made efforts to gain their acceptance. She attempted to fit in as a teammate. Now she understands she operates on a completely different plane. She knows she's become the brand, and they're just the workforce. This deal liberates her from worrying about the fake unity the league tries to promote. If they choose to isolate her during games or create a hostile environment, she can simply head home, flip on those NBC cameras, and rake in millions while having the last laugh. What Caitlin Clark pulled off here is a masterpiece of athletic business strategy. She refused to rely on just one income source. She recognized that the WNBA has serious limitations and constant behind-the-scenes problems, so she chose to diversify her opportunities. Look at what actually happened. Caitlin delivered fresh television contracts to the league. She brought charter flights, she brought millions of new supporters, and rather than receiving appreciation and recognition, she got treated like some outsider who needed to be put in her place. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert completely bombed the most crucial responsibility, which was safeguarding the most valuable player. She should have made Caitlin feel like royalty within the organization. Instead, she allowed her to feel suffocated, and now that those restrictions are gone, the commissioner has zero credibility crying about betrayal. The actual betrayal happened when the league completely wasted the miracle that landed in their lap. We're all counting down to Caitlin's first NBC appearance. That broadcast will make history. It'll be the exact moment the league understands the true scale of what they've lost. Will Caitlin address the organization's issues directly? Will she drop hints about the poor treatment? Or will she completely ignore them and focus entirely on discussing the brilliance of LeBron James and Stephen Curry? Sometimes saying nothing sends the loudest message of all. Once Caitlyn transcends the league's importance, the WNBA transforms into just a small chapter in her much larger story. The commissioner understands this reality, the players understand this reality, and that's the reason we're witnessing these vicious attacks and betrayal accusations happening in private meetings. They're absolutely terrified. They're terrified that everyone will realize Caitlin Clark was always the main attraction, and the WNBA was simply the building where she performed. This story is far from finished. It's actually just getting started. Caitlin Clark established her boundaries and announced to the world that she's both a basketball competitor and a media personality, and she'll go wherever she receives proper recognition. The question I'm leaving with you today, as this war heats up, is whether you think what Caitlin did represents brilliant business planning, or if you side with the commissioner that it's a stab in the back during a critical time. And do you believe this contract marks the beginning of Caitlyn eventually walking away from the WNBA completely to pursue media full-time? Drop your opinions in the comments because this debate is going to be absolutely intense. And don't forget, we'll be first in line to cover her NBC premiere and break down every single word. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell because the age of media empire builder Caitlin Clark just started and nobody is safe.